I had a dream. I wanted to open a restaurant where we remove the guidelines. No rules, no business plans, no registers.
We have no prices on our menu.
This is Lentil as Anything, the most unconventional restaurant in Australia.
We are not a soup kitchen, we are a superb kitchen.
Over 100 employees, 25 different nationalities, all relying on this place for their survival.
It's a constant risk because we never know what is going to go into our boxes.
Every day it's precariously poised between closing down and flourishing.
We've had days with no supplies and days when we haven't been sure what was going to happen next.
But the dream is turning into a nightmare, and the fight to save Lentil as Anything is on.
No, I don't want to think about it. I never know what to expect. Every day is completely lentil.
9 years ago, Sri Lankan student Shanika Fernando opened a remarkable little restaurant in Melbourne. A recent arrival to Australia, he had no experience or money, but he did have a vision.
I just wanted people to have great food, whether they can afford it or not. So we got together with a handful of people and bought a few old stoves and second-hand equipment, and we were off and running.
Shanika's idea was to let customers decide what their meal was worth, and in place of cash registers, provided money boxes.
It's the Robin Hood theory. The people who donate extra, more than the cost of their meal, subsidize a meal for someone who has less money.
It was risky, but it's worked.
I was ready for it to close in 3 months. I thought if we could last for 3 months, we have proved a point.
Shanika's dream took off, and nearly a decade later, there's a Lentil as Anything in St Kilda, a 200-seat restaurant in the old convent in Abbotsford, and they run a school canteen for 600 kids in Collingwood, all without prices and all vegetarian.
It's easier being vegetarian. It's inclusive. Jewish people can come and eat without the kosher concerns. The Muslims can come and eat without demanding a separate state.
Well, it's always good food. It's always different. They write the menus on the wall. And it's just a nice atmosphere.
Food's great. It's a good vibe.
You know, that they're involved in the community and it makes people think about where food comes from and the value of food.
You know, things just evolve without too much thought, without too much planning, without too much structure. And that's why it's so innovative and so unique, and also why it's so wild and hard to tame and chaotic.
Lasagna's out now.
It's quite chaotic, really, but it works. I think success merely means that something just is. What is success? A thief is successful in being a thief.
Australia's local hero for 2007 is Shanika Fernando.
His philosophy of generosity and trust and his passion for community over profit has brought this father of one national recognition.
We are taken to have breakfast or morning tea with the Prime Minister at the lodge, and get to sit and have a chat with him. He thought I was Aboriginal, Johnny Howard, and I didn't pretend I wasn't.
Shanika is wild, wonderful, very contradictory.
It's ambiguous. Yeah, now it's a nice word.
One of his first jobs when he came to Melbourne was as a podium dancer. He's also been a roller coaster driver. He performed in lots of cabaret.
Whilst a hippie named Johnny Howard sips chai
Next to Saddam Hussein.
He loves theatre and he's always performing.
Got a coffee? Thank you.
He makes us laugh. He makes us laugh like Mike Myers. He's like love guru, he's a guru.
I was very passionate about the social sort of injustices I experienced in Sri Lanka, knowing that my family puts food in the bin while people over the wall are starving to death. You know, these are things that made me want to bring down the walls that, you know, keep people apart. It's very important if we want to build a cohesive and progressive society that we all feel like we have a voice. The moment we marginalize people, they have all this work to do to get back into the mainstream, and that's the encouragement I think that lentil gives. 2 cappuccinos and 2 lattes.
Lentil has now grown so big that it takes an army to keep the place cooking. The 2 people Shanaka depends on most are his managers, Grace and Ramesh.
I got overwhelmed and immersed in lentil and the people and the community, and I haven't been able to get myself out. It's not even a choice. I just can't not do it. So I'm like a fly in a spider's web, really.
First, I came to Australia by boat and got detained in Cocos Island, then Christmas Island, Perth Detention, and Woomera Detention Centre. Finally, I ended up in Baxter Detention Centre. So I came here without less expertise. Now I am in the admin.
A bit of oil as well, and a bit of salt.
We don't look at resumes. We just somehow rope you in. I'm not really even going to ask you, have you done dishes before, or have you cooked? So, well, this is what we do. See where you fit in and get started.
Today, Lentil is much more than just a string of restaurants. It provides healthy meals for kids who can't always afford their school lunch.
A lot of kids here don't have enough money, so that's why it's good, you know. They come in and get free food, and it's good.
Really yummy.
The restaurants give vital support to newly arrived migrants, offering everything from an opportunity to work and train to visa sponsorship and crisis accommodation for staff in need.
I used to just sleep in Flinders Street train station for 1-2 months also. So I'm happy because if there is no lentil, I think I'll be not in Australia now.
They even run English classes and driving lessons. By providing practical help and refusing no one, Lentil is changing people's lives.
We're sponsoring Shamugam as well, who's from Malaysia.
Yeah, on this side. I started to get volunteer shifts. They found out that I can cook, and I'm a head chef now, and I work almost Monday to Saturday. I didn't come yesterday and I missed it because it's a family.
But this family is in trouble.
I heard that you're in debt here, they told me.
Yeah, it's not all bad. It's fine, we're fine.
I have a clear picture, Shanna. I don't need a report.
Do you know how much St Kilda has taken for the week and what its expenses?
If they can't pull out of the red before winter bites, they'll be forced to close their doors, not only to their customers, but to all those who depend on Lentil.
I know that the overheads at the moment are greater than the income, because it's the getting bigger that's been the problem. It's only now that we've put everything together that we finally have a picture of what we've got in our hands. And it's a lot bigger than we realised. And the scale of the debt is a lot bigger than we realised. I think we need to start thinking about fundraising. Why aren't we, putting our energies into that? Because that's what we need. We need money.
Lentil as Anything is deep in debt, but they're still cooking over 5,000 meals a week, and it costs a fortune in fruit and veg. But the one thing they can't do is raise their prices, because they don't have any.
We've been trying to simplify what we do in the kitchen as a way of cutting down our costs. It has caused quite a bit of frustration and stress for both Ramesh and Shanika, who want to lay it on. They want to have everything. They want to have lashings of cream and bucket loads of maple syrup pouring from the ceiling at Lentil.
Grace knows they need to manage Lentil better, but Shanika won't see it.
I don't want to be like this, but so my mum made eggplant relish yesterday. You know, that's a whole box of eggplants, which is maybe $70 and it comes down to 1-2 bowls of eggplant relish, you know.
Did you ask that?
I didn't.
It's a great idea.
I don't blame me.
But these things are...
But if they can't even agree on the small stuff, how will they sort out the big issues?
Bruce is our fruit and veg supplier. He supplied all of the lentils for the last 8 years. And he's been our biggest supporter.
Any restaurant that's vegetarian I'm interested in. The more closer to being vegetarian, the better it is. That's an ethical thing that I've always followed. And it feels as though everybody should become vegetarian.
The trouble is, Bruce hasn't been paid in months.
I said to them that they could, for a period of time, just go ahead and get rid of the other debts and then leave mine till last, just to help them. Otherwise, they would have gone out of existence.
As a result, their biggest supporter has become their biggest creditor. And it turns out, he's not the only one not getting paid.
I'm owed a couple of weeks of pay at the moment. It's hard. I needed to pay my daughter's education. But it's not only me, there were a few others who are not being paid.
I might need to look for another job. It's been 3 weeks and I haven't been paid.
Times when people come here just for the money and see it as a conventional job, and that's when things might seem get a bit difficult, because we don't have the capacity to support an individual to that extent.
If we had set prices and we made sort of more money than we do make and stuff like that, then the wages could go up, you know, but at the moment we do have a lot of debt and, you know, we are in a bit of trouble and whatnot.
Well, I think everybody gets paid something, but it's like really survival down to minimum.
Grace and Ramesh call Shanika into a crisis meeting.
Did you promise any wages, rate wages?
Not yet.
Just
Not the higher rate, no way.
she's definitely not going higher rates.
Absolutely not. No one new gets the higher rate. In fact, from now on, we're only looking for unpaid.
Well,
because
I really think
we cannot lose sight of how little room we have to move financially.
You see, we'll definitely...
Have a bit of faith, Grace. Have a bit of faith.
There's already been here. Having to worry about money when you're not supposed to be worrying about money. That's one of the greatest contradictions of Lentil, and it causes us a lot of ire.
The Collingwood College has started to get nervous about the Lentil canteen that's based there.
Well, I think that as far as the canteen being self-sustaining, you know, it has been through in-kind support from Lentil.
Yes, she was just saying we have to show financially that it's self-sustaining.
And Shanika is called to the principal's office.
One of the rumours was that the accounting side of things at Lentil was in a total mess, that in fact people don't quite know what the situation is. We're hearing